Welcome back to another episode of Ideas to Human Better. I am your host, Eva Payne, and it is an honor today to bring on this amazing woman, Lorry Green. She came to my retreat, I don't even know how long ago, months and months ago. And soon she will be leading her own retreat. I am so excited for you to meet her, hear her story around how psilocybin has really helped to change your life, really led to a transformation of her. So without further ado, let me introduce to the stage Miss Lorry. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let me put you in the spotlight. All right. So here we are, just two friends chatting.
Yes, that's just two friends chatting. Okay, I'm so nervous. Why am I so nervous?
Don't be nervous. It's just two friends chatting. That's it. And whoever watches is meant to watch. We're just going to trust the universe.
True that.
Okay, so first, let's just start with who are you? Who are you? Where do what's your background? How did you come to find the Flow Life Retreat? Let's just start there.
Okay. Can I tell you a quick little story and
Yes,
what this is reminding me of? And it goes all the way back to the very, very beginning of this whole journey back in August of 2022. I was kind of at my wit's end and just in life in general. And I went to another retreat, but it was very industry specific for the industry I'm in. But it was geared around wellness. And one of the exercises that we had to do, there was maybe like 6 to 10 women. One of the exercises was we had to finish this sentence. I am blank. So the facilitator was like, Lorry, why don't you go first? And I was like, okay. So I get up there and I'm like, hi. My name is Lorry Green, and I am a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a hairstylist. I'm a business owner. I am 45. I am all these things. And I sit back down, and it was radio silence. And she was like, Lorry, can you come back up, please? And she starts talking to me, and she's like, you didn't do the assignment right. And I'm like, well, you asked me what to finish the sentence. Who am I?
Yeah.
So that's why you asking that. I'm like, which way am I supposed to answer this? Because I've learned my answer was what I do. So what I do is I mom and I wife and I work and I clean and I do all the things that any other woman does. But so I have been in the beauty industry. Actually, I own hair salons here in Washington State. I've been a hairstylist for over 20 years. And at the time when I went into beauty school, my little boy, I was a single mom, and my boy was, he was 2 or 3 years old when I started beauty school. So I went from really essentially being a child to being all of a sudden I'm a mother trying to figure out what I was going to do in life. So I knew that I had to figure out how to raise this child, what I was going to do. And so I knew I liked doing hair. So I thought if I could make money doing something I love, why not do that? So I became a hairstylist. I graduated beauty school, started working at a corporate style salon. And that's where I met my husband, and he had a daughter. So we got married 3 years later. And so now I had a son who at the time was 6, and I had a stepdaughter who was 4. And then 2 years later, we had our son together. During that time, I also decided to open my own hair salon. And so I only opened that salon because I wanted to be able to have a place to work that I wanted, someplace that I felt safe, that I could grow and kind of flourish in a space I couldn't find. What I didn't realize was for the following 18 years, I was going to be creating opportunities in that same space for well over 250 women. And I didn't understand the pressure it was going to be. So who am I? I'm a hairstylist. I'm a business owner. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm pretty much, that's who I am.
Yes, you're all those things and so much more. All right. So then what brought you, you're living this life, you're running this business, you're doing all the mom wifey things. What brought you to a retreat with psychedelics? Had you had past experience with it? Was this something new for you? What was that journey like for you, choosing into that new experience?
Yes. Okay. So no, I did not have any real experience with psychedelics except for like a little couple months stint way back after high school. But I can't even relate that to this at all.
Yeah.
So what brought me to this point was through all of um, to make the longest story short, and I can dive deeper into it later, but I had gotten to a point where I had been diagnosed and labeled as depressed and anxious and ADHD. And I just knew that things weren't right. And I woke up one morning after um, years of trying to manage this with different medications and different medications. Really, that was it. Here's a medicine, take it, and then I'd have to take another one to chase a symptom from that medicine, and or a side effect from that medicine. It was one thing after another. And one day, I woke up and I looked on my phone. I went to go Google something. I was working on my phone, and the search history was on there, and it had said things like how to die in the woods without getting eaten by a bear, how to leave your family without them knowing that you left them, how to, it was all of these questions, which really kind of pointed to the fact that I had become suicidal. And um, it blew my mind because as I was looking at this the next day, as I was looking at the Google and I saw it and I saw that I had searched, and it was just the day before, I had had a really bad panic attack. And when they were happening, I couldn't breathe. The best way I could describe it at the time, and I know different now, but at the time, the best way I could describe those panic attacks, those feelings, was almost like I felt like they were temper tantrums. Like I was like a toddler, like a child. And when I saw this search history, I realized that I was sick and I was not okay. And I was really, really afraid. And I just held on to that for a long time because I didn't know who to talk to about it. And
Yeah.
I ended up waking up during the middle of the night on one of my sleepless nights that I had over and over and over again, but waking up with a light bulb, and I thought, oh my God, it's the medication I'm on. It's got to be. And so I looked up the newest medication that they'd given me, and sure enough, 2% of the people who took this medicine experienced what was called suicidal ideation. Now, I don't know if when I did get that medicine, if my doctor said, now be aware of this. I don't know. All I know is that I had been sick, mentally sick, for a really, really, really long time. And I didn't know it until I realized that my Google history was telling me that I didn't want to be here anymore. So I dumped the medicine. And then the algorithm gods, I guess we'll call them, started popping up psilocybin, magic mushrooms, healing with earth's medicine, and all this. And I just thought it was crazy. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, but it just kept coming. It kept popping up. And then I was like, well, screw it. I guess I'm supposed to look into this or whatever. So I booked a discovery call with you, Eva. And then you were just so friendly and so kind. And I felt
Aw.
almost like a little too friendly, like not too friendly, but like too good to be true, because it was very easy to talk to you and really easy to understand. And you just kind of pointed me in the right direction of different resources to do my own research. And I realized I had nothing to lose. I felt safe in my decision to do so. But the next thing was I really had to be able to figure out how to talk to about it with the people I love. And in doing so, I knew I had to tell them what had happened to me, where I was in that moment. And that was very, very, very scary. Yeah, looking back now, I just, that was probably one of the hardest things that I had to do, is just accept the fact that I had to tell people how dark things had gotten for me.
Yeah.
And when I'd been spending so long trying to just be strong and trying to take care of everyone else and all these things, and I just didn't take care of myself. So that's my story.
Then you found me. Okay.
I
So I
found you.
remember you asking lots and lots of questions. That's what I remember about meeting you and being like, okay, wait, one more question. How's this going to work? Okay, wait. Sorry. Just, does anyone
Yes.
else have questions like this? But you like
Yeah.
had so many questions. I love it though, because it's that inquisitive mind. I mean, it's better to have questions about things and go out and seek what are some
Mhm.
possible solutions? How's this going to go? How's this going to play out? This was very outside of your comfort zone to come to a retreat where you don't know anyone and you're going to
Mhm.
do some medicine or drugs or whatever people would call it at that time, and so that process of like coming to the retreat and having that experience, let's talk a little bit about that. And then I would love to talk about the integration work, like where you
Mhm.
went after and how you integrated in. Cause I know even when you left, you were like, how do I tell anyone that I even came here? I don't want anyone to
Yeah.
even know. I was like, there was still a lot
Mhm.
of fear around that to where you are today, being able to come on here and just say like, this is who I am. So let's
Yeah.
just go to the experience first. What was it about the retreat or the journey or any of it that was an aha that helped you? What were the benefits that you experienced there?
Yeah. Well, saying yes to something that I didn't know what I was saying yes to was really, really scary for me. I had never really done things, actually, not really. I had not ever done anything alone. So getting in that car and driving down to Oregon by myself was one of the scariest things I'd ever done in my life. I've never shared a home with strangers. That was just completely out of the ordinary for
Mm.
me. But there was something extremely freeing about it. So just doing this for myself, I look at it now as a gift that I gave myself that I didn't know I needed more than anything in this world. Um, when I showed up, I got there and I was nervous about sleeping arrangements, like I was nervous about what to pack. I was just I was just a ball of nerves. But I got there and you were very welcoming and you had me find my room and I found the bougiest of the rooms.
I love it.
And I look back now and it's just actually kind of embarrassing. But whatever.
It's where you
But
were. It's where you were. You needed to feel comfortable.
I was just like, I need my own space, and I had my own bathroom, and I'd
Yeah.
heard all these things about psilocybin and purging, and I'm like, what if I have to throw up? What if I feel like I'm gonna poop my pants? I need my own space. Like it was all this, like my mind was just going all over the place. But I found the room, and I got all settled, and I was the first one there, and then slowly people just started kind of trickling in, and or no, I was the second one there. Somebody else was there too, and I went up and I introduced myself to her, and you could tell she had her own story. I just assumed everybody's story was exactly like mine when I got there. And as people started trickling in, I realized everyone was a little bit uncomfortable. And so I wasn't alone anymore. And all of a sudden, I realized I was kind of just the person that I am, where I walk in a room and I kind of take up a lot of space, I guess. But I just started having conversations with each of them. Pretty soon, I just felt connected to all of them. Um, Meeting the women and learning about their stories was something that I get emotional when I think about it, because I think that's one of the reasons why it's so important for me to be able to share my story, because I think we all go through our whole entire lives of just like shoving it down and not putting ourselves first, I guess is what I'm saying. And so knowing that everybody's got their own story and we all differ so widely, but yet we're all the same and we're all connected. And it was just weird. But going through, so we did our first meal together, we kind of went around the table and just shared our things and our stories and all that. And I made a really good connection with one of the attendees there who happens to live in my area. And it was really cool because then we got together. We went to a concert together about a month later afterwards. And that was a lot of fun. So learning about the cold plunge, learning the benefits of cold therapy, that was brand new to me. My first experience doing kind of meditation, my first experience doing breath work, that was all brand new. All of it was brand new. It was just totally brand new. So it was great. It was great. Do you want me to tell you about my actual journey?
What
How
do you
deep
want?
do you want me
How
to go
about
on this?
give me a highlight? What was a highlight from your journey? Because the journeys are 6 hours long, I mean, they're a whole thing. But what maybe how you felt going in, because I think there's a lot of
Yeah,
people who have a lot of fear around it. So how you felt going in, give me a highlight, and then how you felt coming out. How about that?
got it. Okay. So going into the journey. So we're all kind of like around in these, on our yoga mats, and we all choose in, and this whole experience felt so woo-woo to me and so perfect. It was everything I was like really excited about because this is all brand new to me, right? I knew nothing about any of this. And so we're all choosing in, and we're, drinking at that time we did smoothies, and I think we do tea now, but we were doing these cute little smoothies, and it had a cute little cherry on it. So, it's all nice. And, but we're drinking it, and there was a sound bath going on at the same time. And so the music, the senses, everything was just there in our normal, right mind at the time. And so we're just drinking this, and then we were to put our eye masks on and, just kind of lay back. And so I lay back and I'm just kind of waiting. I'm literally like, okay, what's happening? What's going on? With my eye mask on, my eyes are like moving around. And then all of a sudden I can hear kind of commotion on the sides of me. And there's a gal who's crying next to me. And there's another gal next to me who's just wanting some support. So she was, saying the name of one of the gals that was there to kind of hold space for us. And I remember, Eva, you were right behind me. And I remember taking my mask and looking back. I'm like, is this thing working? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And then you're like, you kind of gave me kind of like a little nod. And so I just trusted and put my mask back on and kind of laid back. And then next thing I know, I realized everyone around me was they were already there. And I didn't know that I quite was yet. So then I went into my room and I'm just walking around, just trying to figure out what to do. And I end up this is kind of a big moment for me, was like, I was in the mirror. I went to the bathroom. Here's how it all happened. I went to the bathroom and then I was washing my hands. And so here's the sink. And then right behind me was a window, and outside of the window was just all nature, all woods. And I'm washing my hands. And I look back and, I'm drying my hands on the towel, and I'm looking out at the branches and everything. And they were just beautiful, just like beautiful. I'm like, God, I know nature's cool, but I didn't know it was this cool. Like, that is beautiful. Anyway, so didn't think much about it. Turn around, continue to dry my hands. And I'm looking in the mirror, and all of a sudden I can see my face just like getting old. I can just see like the wrinkles, and I can see, and I'm thinking that, I'm starting to get to a space where I was like, I hated how I looked. And I was just old. I looked old. I felt old. Like I was old. And then one of the gals came in, one of the Becky, who was holding space for all of us. She came in and she looks at me and she's like, "Oh, you found the mirror." And I was like, "What does that mean?" And she's like, "What do you see?" And I said, "I think I see my grandma." And she's like, "What is she saying to you?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I didn't want to look away from it, because then at that moment I realized I'm not seeing me, I'm seeing grandma. But my grandma's still around, and I don't understand spirituality at this time or anything like this. So none of this is making sense. But I couldn't stop looking at her. And I kept staring, and Becky left, and it was just me in the mirror. I left, came out, ate some kiwi with you guys, had, whatever, came back in, looked at the mirror again. And at this point, I'm now in. I can tell that I'm, looking back now, I was in. Mm-hmm. And I start seeing her again. And I can see her eyes kind of start to gloss up a little bit. And then all of a sudden she started saying, "You're okay. You're okay." She kept saying, "You're okay." And she's like, over and over, "If you can see you how I see you, if you can see you how I see you, you're okay." And she just kept saying, "You're okay." And for the rest of the time, every time I looked in a mirror, I saw what I believe now is me, like my older self, my older self looking at me and saying, "You're exactly where you need to be. You are okay. You are fine. If you can see yourself how I see you." And I left that retreat with such a sense of like, I am exactly where I need to be. Everything is beautiful. Everything is connected. That wasn't my grandma. It was me. There's so much more. It was just this moment of like absolute clarity that way I was exactly where I needed to be. And that was why I went into this retreat in the first place. After doing all my prep work, setting myself up for it, I realized what I needed to find my calm. I needed to find clarity. I mean, that was basically the gist of it, just calm and clarity. And just by realizing that I was looking back at myself, telling myself, I wish you could see you how I see you. It was like it's like my heart was speaking to me in a way it had never spoken to me before. I sound so weird right now, but that's exactly what it was
No,
like.
it's beautiful. Like I'm like tearing up sitting over here like, that's so beautiful. I mean, isn't it miraculous? The medicine gives you what you need. Like it knows
Mhm,
you, it sees you. It's so
mhm.
freaking intelligent. You don't have to figure anything out. There's nothing for you to do. It's just
No.
being with it and just allowing it to unfold.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go back home, and I know at first you were like, "Oh, I wanna tell people, but I don't wanna tell people. There's a lot of stigma." And so I said to you, "Just wait. You'll know. You'll know. There's no
Mhm,
rush in disclosing. Just let it unfold."
mhm,
So, what transpired? I know you lost your dad within, like,
mhm.
6 months or so of that retreat.
Yeah,
So,
a
what were
month.
some of the things that transpired over those next 6 months? Because you did a second journey,
Yeah.
um, and what does that look like for you? How did that integration and then going back into the second journey, knowing how did you even know, like, "Oh, I need to journey again?" What was that like
Absolutely.
for you?
Absolutely. Well, I'm so glad you asked that because I think this is a really pivotal moment in my healing that I didn't know I needed. So, that first journey that I just talked about was September 22nd, 2022. And um, I came back with this just, I just, everything was beautiful. Like literally beautiful is the word that just, that's beautiful. Everything's beautiful. My sock bin of why does every house have a giant sock bin? I think we talked about this, Eva, but why is
Yeah.
that beautiful too? Like everything's, everything's just beautiful. It is, as it is, like whatever. And then a month later, I found my dad. And my dad was extremely sick. I didn't know it. He wouldn't let me in. There's a lot of things that that kind of led up to this moment and this day. But um, I found him, and within 12 hours he was gone. And so it was. I'd never lost anybody before like that in that manner, or yeah, I'd never experienced that before, that kind of grief.
Yeah.
I wasn't super connected to my dad. Like my dad wasn't really around. I didn't see him often. He actually held me really at arm's length, but he loved me so, so much. Um, so when I found him, I had a lot of guilt and so much guilt. And I didn't know how to get beyond it. I didn't know how to get beyond the grief or anything like that. So that was Thanksgiving of last Thanksgiving last year,
Mhm.
of 2022, a month after my first journey. And what happened to me was I, the best way I can describe it, and I don't know addiction or anything like that, but just from the movies or whatever. But the best way I could describe it was I almost like relapsed in a way, like I was worse than I was when I went into the first journey. And I think
Mhm.
that this is really, really important to know because um, I don't believe that I did the work that needed to be done to integrate my first journey into my everyday life. And so when shit hit the fan, for lack of better terms, when things got really, really hard for me again, and I was experiencing grief that I'd never experienced before in my life, and guilt on top of that, I got really, 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 really depressed. And my best friend, she actually said, maybe you should call Eva. I feel like this is a commercial for Eva. Eva, I got to tell you, do you remember that phone call when I called you? And I was like, I lost my dad. I don't know what to do. Within seconds, I'm sobbing. And you're like, Lori, it's okay. It's okay. And you were so like, you were so kind and so understanding and so helpful. And you pointed me in, directions that didn't even involve mushrooms, but also we talked about that as well. And I think that the community that has come from just this first saying yes to the first Flow Life retreat has been absolutely that life changing in itself, because we have our resources, we have each other. It's like, let's talk this out. So anyway, with that, I ended up deciding that I needed to do another journey. I needed to tap into that. And so I did not go to the Flow Life retreat. At that time, I felt like a really strong sense of urgency. And I had somebody come and sit with me, and I created a space and did all the things. And I used all the tools that we used from the Flow Life Retreat, the journaling prompts, everything that we did. I did all of that. And what I learned from that experience was that so many things, like everything that happened during that experience. By the way, my grandma came back to me again, but this time my actual grandma. But anyway, everything I learned from that experience kind of really taught me that I don't need to look outward. I don't need to go out there to find answers to whatever is happening with me, with like what's going on within, because I have the answer. The answer is within me. It's just, how am I going to tap into that? And so working through all of the grief and the guilt and all that, it's been a work in progress, but all of the things that I was able to discover during that journey, that second journey, just piggybacked on top of that first one, and has prompted like all this integration work, it's prompted everything. So the reason why I'm glad you asked me that is because I don't want people to think that they go into this one journey and it's a one and done situation. We still are who we are. And, it's like when life gets difficult, somebody told me one time, when life gets hard or challenging or whatever, find the mushroom. And so I sit there and I close my eyes and I just take a deep breath and, and I just find that mushroom. And what that means to me is I just kind of go within and what did that show me? When I came out of those journeys, what did that show me? How did that feel? What did that look like? And I'm able to kind of bring myself back to baseline and then tackle the situation with whatever grace it is I need to give myself to do so.
It's really beautiful. I love that you said that the answers are within you. I interviewed Shelly, a gal who was at my very first retreat and then came back with her husband like 6 months later. And now it's been 2 years since she was there. And she's like, let's do a follow-up interview. And I said, let's. So we did that this morning. And that's what she said too. Basically, like the answers are inside you. Everything is right here. We just can't see it. We just are so bogged down with all the crap and
all the
heaviness and life. And, we just get so busy and so distracted. And then we're so used to looking outside of ourselves, especially when you're a giver and you give, then you think the answers are also outside. But it's not everything. You better than anybody else. You know what you need. It's just sometimes really hard to hear it, to know it. And that's what I think the mushrooms really help us do. They break down those layers so you can get back to that wholeness. What do I need? What does my body need right now? Do I need rest? Do I need food? Do I need to breathe? Do I need some yoga? Do I need to meditate? Go on a walk? Just what do I need? Do I need to be held by someone? When you can listen to yourself, you can help yourself, because things are going to happen. Life is not easy, but hopefully you have the tools to be able to move through those hard parts of life. And that's what it looks like you've been able to do. Things got really, really hard fast, like really challenging. And, thank goodness that you did have that first retreat, because had you not had that retreat, you're trying to deal with that depression, and that anxiety. And then you lose your dad in that way. It's like, just seems like that would have been a lot to hold. Not that you couldn't have done it, but so much, so it's like the divine timing.
The totally divine timing. I agree with that 100%. I do want to say though, a couple things that, that kind of come to mind that I just want to share with people, because when I lost my dad, I immediately started to consciously remember my father as a child, even though I wasn't there. I needed to know, because my dad was mentally, he just wasn't okay. He wasn't healthy and mentally he wasn't okay. I believe, he also didn't want to go to doctors, and, he was not a bit of a hermit. He was also a bit of a hoarder. He was very, very different and hard for me to understand
he had
as I got older.
He had his own pain,
He had his own pain, but
many of us do.
yeah, he wouldn't say it, but we all knew it. And when he's pushing me away, it got to a point in my old, as I got older, I was just like, I'm raising a family. If, I'm not going to force grandpa to hang out with us, but the reason why I like to, I liked to think about him in almost his purest form, like when he first came into the world. And I saw this little picture of him with his cute little fat cheeks. And I just thought, man, life really got to him, and I don't want my mental illness of depression and anxiety, and I'm very prone to that. I don't want that to hold me back from my true happiness and learning the true essence of who I am. And I didn't want my dad's passing to go in vain. I wanted to make sense of it all. And so as I was there, I was kind of coming down from my journey. I was just looking out at the clouds, and I could see these clouds, but I could feel them kind of, it sounds weird, but kind of like embody me a little bit. Like I felt like an energy of like, I don't know. And all I could say was I just felt my dad's presence with me at that very moment. And it was just such a magical, it was just amazing, because I'm like, am I making this up in my head? And I had to tell myself, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. Like, just let it, just feel it. And now I go out there and I feel closer to my dad than I ever have. And I tell him, I'm like, I am not going to let this get me. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn from the life that my dad got to live. And I'm going to make sure that I, when it comes to mental illness, that people know that they can heal. They don't need to sit in their little single wide trailer surrounded by garbage. And, they don't need to do that. We can get beyond whatever it is that's holding us back in our life. And if you just trust it. And I trust that my dad's passing, it meant something to me. It meant something huge. And it really really prompted a very, very exciting spiritual journey that I never experienced. I never understood in others, the spiritual side of things. And so now, with psilocybin to be able to help me, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to continue to, I haven't done a journey, but those 2 times, but I think if, my next one, I've got a couple things I need to work on, but I really want to kind of go within and I want to learn more about, there's so much more in this life. I thought we were just born and then we live and do all the things that they tell us we're supposed to do. And then we die. But then I'd never understood what goes beyond that, because I wasn't born in any kind of organized religion or anything like that. I just was here. And it's so much more like fulfilling. And I want to use the word validating, but I don't know if that's the right word, but it feels so good to know that there's so much more to this life. Yes. There's so much more. And I would have never, ever, ever, ever said that out loud if it hadn't been for my first journey with psilocybin. So, and then meeting all these people in this space and the community of people. So leaving that first journey with you, Eva, I remember asking you, like, how do I find my people? I can't just go back and say, guess what, world, here's what I've done. Like I couldn't even make sense of it at the time, let alone talk about it. Like, what do I do? And you said, just sit back, just wait. They'll come. The people will come.
They'll come. Your tribe will find you.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you come to the Alumni Retreat, which is that September. So a year from your first journey. And we held this Alumni Retreat. 16 people came. And what was that experience like for you? Being there with people from all different retreats, being able to connect in with that group. What would you say about that? When we talk about that tribe forming, and I said, they'll come, they'll be in your actual community, but there's a community within the community that you can be a part of if you choose in. Yes. So tell me a little bit about that experience for you. What's a takeaway from that experience?
Yeah. Okay. So this Alumni Retreat. So Eva, when you say jump, I don't know if you've noticed, but I just tend to jump. So I did. I was like, okay, sign me up. I'm in. I didn't know what I was saying yes to. So we went, and there was how many, like 16, 18 of us?
Yeah. 16 people. Yeah.
Yeah. 16 of us. all these people that I never met before. And it was very, very similar to a normal Flow Life retreat, but on steroids. Is that a good way to put it? Like it just
Yeah.
was, you're surrounded by these people that have already been there, done that. They have their own story, and we got to share each other's stories, and doing art therapy together, and so many laughs and cries, and everyone just loves everybody already, and we hadn't even met yet. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience, getting to know more people in this space. Fast forward, I'm still really good friends with a few of the gals. We have a standing Zoom, where we get on Zoom and we chat. And I have another one of the gals is coming up here to hang out with me next month with you. And then it just, that really, really kind of, to me, that really catapulted the community within Flow Life.
Yeah.
So I'm banking on the fact that I hope and I pray that we do this again and give that opportunity for other alumni to choose in on a alumni retreat, because that was pretty amazing. Do you want me to go any further in that, or why don't you guys?
That's good. I think I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about integration work and how important community is. Just how important it is to have people that you can talk about this experience with, but also just people who get it. Just having that support is so, so important. I mean, you can do it with the people who you attended a retreat with. You can find people in your community, an integration circle somewhere. You can come back to an alumni retreat and find your people there, whatever it is. But I think that's such a huge piece, a huge component of integrating in an experience, is having others who can sit with you and talk with you. And especially, when they just get it. Like you said, you just walk into this alumni and everyone was there, like open arms, already ready. You just initially just feel so connected. I think it's just something I really want people to consider when using this medicine, whether you do it on your own or you come to a retreat, that you have support afterwards, and like set yourself up to win. Who are those people going to be for you? Who can you talk to? And it's great to have a therapist or a coach or a counselor, but sometimes even a little bit of a bigger group is really important.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was nice. And the accommodations were absolutely gorgeous. It was at this giant house. It was like a family home, but I don't even understand what size family would accommodate that house, but it was absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful pool. We got to hold space for, I don't know how detailed you want.
Go for it.
Well, some people had opted in. There was a couple of people who opted in to do a journey with psilocybin. And this was a really, really pivotal moment in my life. I think this is one of those core memories that happens that I'll never, ever, ever forget. But there was, we were, holding ceremony, holding space for these two people that were going through their psilocybin journey. And I had asked Eva, I'd asked you if I could come and just as you were going to check on one of the gals. And I was like, can I come and see how this, what I just wanted to learn all the things. Like, what does this process look like? I've only been an attendee. I haven't been there to see people as they're going through their own journey. And you're like, sure. And we go in there. And so I got to experience and sit with this woman who I knew nothing about through her entire journey. And I felt so just so honored to be there for her. And I we held her, we took turns holding her and just making sure, kind of trying to figure out how to ground her. But that moment of, for those few hours, just watching where the mushroom was taking her, I'm, as me in my right mind, but watching where the mushroom was taking her and all of the things she said, body movements she made, just different things that had happened during her journey. And then afterwards be able to communicate and talk about that with her and to learn about her, because I didn't know a single thing about her. And then to learn about her and to learn about her past and really kind of help watch her kind of connect the dots was amazing. That completely prompted me to want to understand more about this process.
Yeah. Isn't it
So,
amazing how the universe works? I mean, when you
yeah,
said, "Can I just come back and see, like how this is going to go?" I honestly thought it would be like a little 5-10 minute check-in because had been doing great. You just never know where the mushroom's
yeah.
going to take you, where it's going to go. And it ended up being like she really needed at least one of
Mhm.
us. But it was so great having you there and being able to, I mean, literally with no training. And this is the thing, like, you you can take all the courses, you can listen to all the podcasts, you can do all the work, but until you actually sit with someone, it's like
Mhm.
you just never know how you're going to be, how it's going to go. And at the end of
Mm.
the day, I tell people it's motherly. Like, can you tap
That's how it felt.
into yeah, can you tap into that motherly energy whether you are actually a mom or not? That's the energy of the medicine, and that's what it calls for with a sitter. It's like you just need to nurture and love the human in front of you. It doesn't matter if it's a 71-year-old man or a 28-year-old young woman, whatever it is. It's just, how do you love this person and meet them where they're at and take care of their human while the medicine works on their mind and
Right.
let them go, because you don't know what they're thinking. You don't really know what's going on. You're just taking care of the human so they are not in that fight, flight, or freeze,
Mm.
that they can just surrender and allow the medicine to unfold, and allow
Mm.
whatever needs to come up for them to unfold. You did such a good job. It was such like
Mm.
a, oh, Lori's supposed to do this. 100%. She can hold space for this without a shadow of a doubt. It was like the universe just said, "Here, let me give you an opportunity." And you stepped right into it wholeheartedly. It was beautiful. Which prompted you to come back to a retreat in November. Was it November that we did the
November,
last one?
yeah, it was the last
Okay.
retreat. Yeah.
So let's talk
Yeah.
about that then. So you decide to come back and facilitate, help, be on the other side. And that's been, several months later from September to November there. So what was that experience like for you? Being on the
Um,
other side of the full retreat and not just the one
being on the
journey?
other side completely,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, wow. So yeah, I had decided at that time, um, after, sitting with her, and I decided that I I remember feeling like I had never felt more, I don't even know what the word was, valuable.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if that's the word, but I felt
That's a good word.
intentional. I don't know, whatever it was. I just knew I wanted more of it. I knew I wanted to hold space because, and now I'm still in contact with her, and and we talk, and she's a breath worker, and I'm like, did you know that I had to remind you how to breathe? She's like, I
Yeah.
know, it's crazy. I was like holding her face. I'm like, okay, just breathe with me. And we're looking at each other's eyes. And she's like, and all I do is just breathe. I'm not a breath worker or anything. So it was just like the fact that I got to teach a breath worker how to breathe, like that was
Yeah.
exciting. So I asked you if I could come, and you were like, sure. And so I came down to Oregon, and it was really, really cool. Again, very nostalgic, like getting in that car and driving by myself to a place with a bunch of strangers, except for you, and Dream. I knew Dream as well, but getting down there, and I was so excited. And so I get down there and met all the familiar faces, or not familiar faces, but met all the faces.
Yeah.
Well, we had met on the Zoom, so I guess that's what I
Yeah.
mean by. But it was, the retreat itself was on the outside, being, on the outside looking in. It was, you could tell that it had evolved like tenfold. Like it evolved big time since the one that
The
I had
year
been to a year
before.
ago.
Right.
Naturally, I mean, plus almost 30, I think, 28 retreats later,
Yeah.
it's going to naturally evolve for you. Um, but your breath work that you do, your meditation that you do, I felt really fortunate to be able to do that with you guys. The first one, yeah, and every single morning, Eva, your morning meditation that you do at 6:30, and for me, 6:30, that's like the ass crack of dawn. I don't know, that's like middle of the night for me.
For me
But
too.
I get
Trust
up,
me. I'm
but I
like,
get up and
okay,
I do
here I
that.
go.
Yeah. But to watch you do that, and watch you like really, really you could tell that that is your zone. Like you are in it. Like you could tell that, and it doesn't feel like it just feels like it's very raw, very organic, and somehow it absolutely like aligns with every single person's story or where they are at that moment or whatever. Like, I don't know how you do it, but you are
I
really,
don't know
really, really
either.
good at it.
I don't, thanks.
Well, whatever it is, keep doing it.
I just
So,
say, universe, what do these humans need? I'm here to serve.
but
Let's
you
go.
feel it. Like like it radiates off you. Like you can
I do
see that
feel it.
you're just in it. And so for this retreat, I really kind of went in with it of the mindset of observing, um, because I didn't really know I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. Like I didn't know, um, I'm used to being the person that is controlling all the situations, doing all the things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I didn't know what to do while I was there. And so I just was like, okay, Dream, tell me what to do. Tell me what you want. What can I do? What can I help with? And so she was really good at like really kind of directing it, like, okay, got this. And she'll do that, like telling me like, breathe with me. They need to hear it. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm breathing. Like it was just, everything was orchestrated really, really well. Um, but as somebody, I know that I have so much more I can give in that space. Now that I've seen how it all goes, now I feel like I can do more. But what I think I did really well at, which was very organic, was just connect with everybody, still communicate with all of them, and connect with the attendees, and I almost felt like I was almost like I was an attendee myself in a way. I got to on the very last day I did breath work, one of the breath works with you guys, and that was really incredible. And then I did one of the meditations with you, and that was the last day, and that was a whole another thing that we can dive into in a minute if you want. But the both times were just completely eye-opening, heart-opening, like just like, I don't know how to explain it. I wish I had the words. Until you experience, I guess it's hard to explain. But it was, I wasn't even an attendee, and I got so much out of it. I probably got more out of that than the entire year put together after my second retreat or after my
Love
second
it.
journey.
Well, when you
Yeah.
come to serve, it's just different. It shows
Yeah.
up different. When you're just like, okay, I'm here to do what needs to be done. What
Yeah.
is something I can do, whether it's taking the trash out, doing the dishes, sitting and talking with someone,
Yeah.
um,
I did a
filming
lot of that. I did a lot of
you know?
cleaning and tidying and chit chatting during the journey itself. I can speak to that a little bit during the
Yeah.
journeys. So there were 6 of them that were in their journey, and it was a co-ed retreat. And again, I'm just kind of following Eva and Dream's lead, and I can see when somebody needs a little support, and a little bit more support, or just kind of wanted to talk something out or whatever. And so I just go wherever I felt like I needed to go, and it was really, really cool to see everything kind of work together. Like it was like everybody was in their own space, but
Yep.
collectively we were all together, which sounds weird, but it just felt everything was just everyone, I believe, and I know that it's true because they said it, like everyone felt safe, everyone felt comfortable, everyone felt like heard and held and safe, I guess is the best way I could put it. So
Yeah. Isn't
would
it?
you
It's just,
agree? Like,
it's organic.
yeah,
That's why I say, until you actually just do it, until you're in the space with someone, you really have to listen to your own intuition. What does this person need? Can I fill it? And if it's not me,
yeah,
then I have other resources here. I have other people here. I even know
mhm,
when I'm sitting in a room with someone and I'm like, it's not me. I know
right.
I can't, I'm not the person they need right now. And I'll go back out and I'll say, Dream, it's you, or whoever's
Yeah,
helping
yeah,
along.
and that did
You gotta
happen.
get
That
it.
did happen a couple times, which I appreciated. I thought it was really cool. Um,
Yeah.
a couple of the moments that I do want to share, for
Yeah.
anybody that is considering going to a retreat. There's a whole bunch of different, all these different like modalities that are used to kind of just tap in, and some of them stick, some of them don't. So we do things like art therapy, cold therapy, we do meditation, breath work, somatic, which is, for those that don't know the word somatic, because I didn't either. We're just moving our body, things like that. But learning about all of these different resources or different modalities or whatever you want to call them, it was overwhelming at first, a year ago when I first started learning about all these things, because I wanted to just grab everything and just do all the things. And I wasn't doing them with intention back then. I was just like wanting to learn it all. And now I'm like, okay, now that I know a little bit about a lot of things in this space, I'm throwing it all into like the middle of the room, and then I'm just picking up the ones that fit, and then I'm picking up the ones that fit. And I'm learning that as I start to get really acclimated with it, whatever that one is, let's say it's yoga. I've done yoga for 5 years, but now I do it with intention. So once I'm like really comfortable in that space, I'm like, okay, what's next? What else can I grab out of this bucket and kind of put it in my toolbox? And so it wasn't an overnight fix. I'm still constantly working on, me. I mean, we're all constantly learning and evolving as humans. So I will continue to do that. But one of the things I absolutely loved at this retreat was we were in Gerhardt, Oregon, so right on the beach, and doing cold therapy is great, whether you're jumping in the ocean or in a tub or whatever. It's great for you, and it's really cool to do it with others, because you're really encouraging each other to just breathe through it and get through it. And but at this one, we had this big jaunt down through the dunes to the water, and the anticipation in this freezing cold day was stormy. I mean, it was raining the entire time, except for this moment that we walked out the front door, dipped in the ocean, and walked right back into the front door. And I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I'm like, man, those clouds held off for that brief moment for us. But we all ran, we jumped in the ocean together, and we sat there, and we've got video of it. And it's one of my favorite videos to watch, is all of us just like we're like, we got this, and we're breathing through it. And then pretty soon it's like, we're still sitting there. We're still sitting in the water for like an extra 30 seconds. And then we got out, and we were all just walking, just moseying back to the house together. Like it was nothing. And it was, to me, that was one of my favorite moments of the whole thing, because we all just like collectively did that together. That was really cool.
I love it. I have people who they'll get on the call with me and they'll say, do I have to do the cold plunge? That's the only thing I don't want to do. And I say, everything is a choice. You don't have to do any of it.
You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to do the medicine if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people choose out of that, and they still have a great experience at the retreat. So but then when you do choose in, you're like, oh, I get it. I understand why this is so valuable. One of the things about the cold therapy that I love, and I'm going to kind of botch this a little bit, but they said something like, they were comparing cold therapy to like, gosh, I want to say like the high of like alcohol, like drinking or something like that. And they said, alcohol, you've got like 20 minutes of like feeling good, and then you drop off and you don't feel good anymore. And that's why people keep drinking throughout the night, because they want to try to stay up in that like higher range. Right. And they said one cold plunge gets you to that same range that alcohol does, but you stay there for like 4 hours or something like an insane amount of time. I mean, being in water for a minute, 3 minutes. It's just like the benefits to your body are so remarkable. I've had people who have left and then the retreat, and then they continue to cold plunge. Like they make it a practice in their life. Or just turn the shower on cold at the end. It's these simple things in life that can really change our mindset,
just
our perspective.
Little tweaks, little tweaks in our day to day, and I'm saying this all out loud. And I'm like, when was the last time I did a cold plunge? I should probably do that. But it's just, if we just do things with intention and just make these little tiny tweaks, we don't have, and not all at once. You know what I mean? I'm so freaking grateful for it. That this whole experience has really kind of gotten me in the mindset of wanting to learn who I am. So going back to that original question, not to take it all full circle here, but
Yeah.
going back to that original question I got asked well before learning about the Flow Life Retreat about finish this sentence, who am I? When I learned that I messed up that assignment, I didn't understand the assignment. When I learned that, I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I was like, well, I was blaming the facilitator for not explaining the directions a little bit better. And then when I realized, like, okay, no, I was supposed to know who am I, not what I do, who is my being, like, who am I deep down to my core, who am I? And it prompted this whole self-discovery learning about who am I. And I mean, and I'm still working on it. I'm still, it's scary. It's very scary because it, not only am I taking inventory of my heart and my soul, but I'm also with that taking inventory of everything that's around me, everything that I've loved, everyone I've loved, the home, the life I've created, my business, everything that I have put my complete heart and soul into for, 46, 47 years. And it's so scary because some of those things I don't feel totally aligned with. And just saying it out loud is making my heart just kind of pound a little bit because it's scary because I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to look like. Or for any of it. But what I do know is I know how to do the work. I know how to find it. I know what I need to do to make sure that I'm aligned with what it is I am doing, with who I am as a wife, as a mother, as a business owner, as a hairstylist, as, all those things.
As a loving, creative, expansive being who's here to evolve,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the things. Like, it's all the things. And life is full of transitions, full of transitions. And when we think we can't transition, that's when it gets tough. You transition leaving high school, you transition leaving whatever profession, you transition leaving being single to being in a relationship to getting a divorce, you transition from not being a mom to being a mom, you transition when those kids leave the house. There's so many transitions. They're going to keep happening. You went through a transition losing a parent. That's a transition, and so that's, if it was the same forever, how boring would that be? There would be no growth. So we just get to learn to do it better with a little bit more grace, a little bit softer, a little bit more kindness for ourselves. And when you see others going through those transitions, you can have a little bit more patience. You can show up in a little bit of a better way for them because okay, well, it's not my turn right now, but I feel it coming on. I feel that transition.
You're like living life in flow is something that resonates with me big time. It never used to until I met you. But everything kind of flows as it should. And one of the phrases I used to despise is, "It is what it is." And I'm like, what do you mean it is what it is? What is it? What is it? And it's like, it just is. It just is. That's all you need to know. And so knowing that right now is so nice. But where it gets really scary is, what if what it is doesn't feel right? What if what it is doesn't align with who you are anymore? What if what it is means that you need to make a choice? And it's that choice that I have found a little bit more calm in making. Whereas before, when I would have to make a choice, it would be extremely detrimental to me. It would be, I might find myself on a panic attack on my bathroom floor because I didn't understand where to even go. I didn't understand how to make that choice. And so I would contact, people to make that for me. And now I'm just learning to trust myself. And I'm learning that it's like, it is what it is. And you know what? It's pretty freaking beautiful. We get to choose this. We get to choose this day. We get to choose all the things. For me, it was just a giant paradigm shift. It was like I just had to change my whole thinking, I guess, and look at life differently in a way that is just like, back to my initial word after my first journey is, it's just really is beautiful if we let it be, it really is.
As you've heard me probably say, just take the most loving next step. You
Yeah.
don't have to always leap. Sometimes it's a leap, and sometimes
Mhm.
it's just what's the most loving next step. Or you take that step and then you sit with how that feels.
Mhm.
Okay, do I want to hire someone in to do what I do? Do I want to maybe venture out and try something new? And you go right to the edge of your comfort zone and maybe just beyond it, and then you just allow it to happen, and then you can go in and debrief. You go
Mhm.
in and you integrate. And did I like it? Did I not like it? I didn't know I'd be 32 retreats in 2 years later. I thought, I'm going to just do one. I'm going to do one retreat. Let's see how it goes. Well, I did before that. It was, let me just sit with one person, my
Right.
sister. Let me just take one person through a journey and see, do I even like sitting with someone? Does this even work? I had no foresight of where it was going or what it was going to be. And I still don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be in a year. I don't know what it's going to
Mhm.
look like in 6 months. There's opportunities come up. My acronym for FLOW, following life's opportunities wholeheartedly, which here you are saying, well, maybe I want to run a retreat. What would that look like? And how would I put that together? And can you help me? And then there's, other people like, well, what could you make? Can you help with that? And what about, and these opportunities just come up. And so I just say yes, and let's go and see where it
Yeah.
goes. And
Yeah.
it's trusting, going back to, you're looking in the mirror, everything's okay. You're
Mhm.
exactly
You're
where you
gonna
need
be
to be.
okay. Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay.
Mhm.
And you don't have to go into that panic. You don't have to go into that fight, flight, or freeze. You just breathe like you're holding Brooklyn's face, just
Yeah.
breathe. Just breathe. We just have to do that to ourselves sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
this. I can do
I
this.
know.
I can take the most loving next step. All right. Any final thoughts from you?
Oh,
Anything you want to
man.
share or say or
You know,
put out to the world?
can I share my story about Cynthia? Do you
Yes,
remember
by all
this?
means.
Okay. Okay. So this is probably the biggest when I look back on this past year, because it's September, so a little over a year. And I was thinking about the moments that maybe I want to share here on the podcast, for you, on your podcast. But the big moments, and my biggest moment stemmed back, with a woman that I had met. And so back in May, I had gone with for a girls' weekend with three of my girlfriends to one of her mom's house. So her mom had a home on an island here in Washington State, and I had met her mom maybe once. I probably had maybe two conversations with her in my life, and nothing, it was, nothing major. But I get to this house and I instantly felt, and again, this was back in May. So I instantly felt like this, like rush, almost like just an energy. I don't know. I felt some sort of way when I was walking into this house, and there was this cute little
Good,
Buddha.
bad? What do you mean by that? Good or
Good,
bad?
great,
Okay.
like
Okay.
good, like a rush of good,
Mhm.
like a deep breath, and I was just like, oh my god. And it was just this rush of good energy that came over me, and it brought me to tears. And my friends are looking at me like, Lori, what is going on with you? Like, I'm like, I don't know what's going on in this place. And I remember saying this, I don't know what's going on in this place, but Winnie, I don't know your mom, but whatever it is she has created here, I want this. Like, this is everything about that space. I just felt so connected to. And then her mom walks up. Her mom's name's Cynthia. Cynthia walks up, and I said hi because I'd met her briefly before. And I was like, hi. And she, we gave each other a hug, and I was kind of shaking. And she said, you're shaking. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm crying at this time. Like, tears are coming out of my eyes because of how I'm feeling in her space. And I was like, I don't know. I'm feeling some sort of way here. And she's like, yeah, yeah. And so I got to talk to Cynthia for a little bit while I was there a few times. And I'm like, tell me about this. And she had all these little kind of, uh, I want to call them little witchy things, back then, before I knew anything about spirituality or anything in that space, but, little crystals everywhere, and a little doll that looked kind of voodoo-ish, or, just little things I
Yeah.
don't fully understand, and definitely didn't understand then. She had the flags on the entryway and a cute Buddha statue walking in. It just was a place of just absolute serenity and peace and beauty. And it was just a great energy. Anyway, fast forward to we're now, her and I are having a conversation, and I was just kind of picking her brain on life and love. And she was recently divorced within the past few years, I believe. And she had chosen her. She's like, I'm here for me. I'm, whatever. And she's like, I want you to come back. Just you come back and we'll just talk and all this. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay. So I was really looking forward to coming back and seeing her. So now that was May. In July, my friend Whitney was up at her mom's house, and again, the house itself on the island was situated on a cliff. And Cynthia, her mom, had gone missing for about a half hour or so. Whitney couldn't find her, and she's yelling for her name and ends up finding her on the bottom of the cliff face down. So she must have slipped and fallen, and she lost her life immediately. She died immediately. And when I heard the news of this, obviously very, very, very tragic. My friend having to, deal with the loss of a mother in the way, it was just right before Cynthia's 70th birthday. Just very tragic. When I fast forward now to this retreat that I went to, and I in November with you, that I did that last day meditation with you, I was laying there, and mind you, let me say something really quick. So Whitney wanted to go on a retreat with you. I think she had even spoken to you. Maybe she ended up not going for whatever reason, but her mom had given her the money to go. So Cynthia had wanted her daughter Whitney to go to this retreat, and she never ended up going. So I'm now in this retreat, doing that meditation on that last day. And towards the end of the meditation, I felt like this, just this whoosh of something. And then I felt Cynthia. I felt her with me. I felt her presence. And she was talking to me, and she was telling me, I need her to surrender. Tell her to surrender. Tell her to surrender. And she said, tell her I wasn't scared. She's like, it's divine timing. It was divine timing. I wasn't scared. Tell her to surrender. These things just kept repeating in my head, in her voice. And I could see her and feel her. And it was really bizarre. And I realized that at this point, the meditation was ending, because I could sense that there was stuff going on around me, and your voice stopped talking. and so in my mind, I'm like, I didn't want it to end, because I didn't want Cynthia to leave. And I wanted to understand what was happening. And I'd never experienced anything like that before. And so then after coming to, I remember I came over to you, and I was just like, Cynthia, I think Cynthia just came to me. I don't understand this at all. But I feel like I'm starting to understand it a little bit. And she kept saying, tell her to surrender. I need her to surrender. So I called Whitney, my friend, and I'm sobbing on the phone with her. This is the last day of that retreat. And I'm sobbing, and I'm like, Whitney, I have to tell you. And I tell her what had happened, and she starts sobbing, and all the words that I said out loud to her, she said, you sound exactly like her. You sound like her. Everything you're saying, my mom would have said. And it was that moment that Whitney's like, the next day, she's like, I'm ready. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. And so she's going to do it. And she's going to take the medicine, and she's going to go on her own journey and do her own healing. But in my mind, the reason why I want to share this is because without psilocybin and without me experiencing this space, I don't think I would have ever been able to really understand those moments of connection of, I don't understand. Did she come to me? I don't really know. I mean, but all I know is there was some message that had to get relayed to Whitney from her mom. And so I felt like responsible for that. And there's a reason why I walked into that home back in May and felt the way I felt and was shaking when she hugged me. And I think that the divine timing that I kept hearing her say, and that when I was in that meditation, that it was divine timing. It was divine timing. I want to believe that that's what she meant, that I came into her life in a moment that she was going to need me. She was going to use my purpose in going to that home was so that I can continue the spiritual journey that maybe somehow Cynthia knew that I was in the very, very beginning stages of, or something. I don't know, but it all makes it makes sense to me enough right now to know that it was something very special and something that the medicine has helped me figure out and work through. So I wanted to share that, because it was
Profound.
very, very profound. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I talk about it with people that are kind of in that space, and people are like, okay, well, they're giving me advice, like maybe go talk to so-and-so, maybe, your third eye, and I'm like, what is the third eye? I don't, what does that even mean? But it's prompted a lot of conversations and a lot of things that I'm ready to kind of explore and learn about, and
Well, if you
just
think
stay
about your
curious.
connection to your dad, your connection that you have, I mean, whoever they are, smarter people than me, say that energy cannot be created or destroyed. And I believe, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
true or not, but I believe that we are more than this body, that this body is our avatar, is a physical vessel, and that there is something that occupies it for a period of time. And I've told my kids, you can bet if and when I go, whenever that happens, I am sticking around. I am going to be
Yeah.
in your ear saying, go left, not right. I'm going to be showing up in your dreams. I'm going to be trying to figure out how to talk to you through that veil, like whatever that is, So if that means, that they're closed off, they can't hear it, but I know this person can be a bridge. You can be a bridge. You can help her heal because you are open to whatever. I mean, there's something there, it might
There's
sound woo
gotta
woo to
be.
people, but I really believe that the more down these roads, the more we're going to see science and spirituality meeting, and that we're going to be able to explain it in a very scientific way. And right now it might just sound super woo and it's hard to understand, but that's okay. Cause you know what, at the end of the day, it helped you, it helped her. She's going to get to come and have an experience now because of
Mm.
you. And it's like, that doesn't hurt anyone. It only helps everyone in her life, everyone she meets moving forward, her energy will shift and change. And so it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It's the outcome is positive and there's a benefit. And so why not
Mm.
have that perspective? At the end of the day, it's just all perspective anyway. So choose to have the lens that sees the good and the value in these experiences, that sees the love in our experiences rather than blowing it off, or it doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
or, because that's a perspective too that we can have going through this life. And a lot of us, we choose it, even if we don't think we're choosing, that
Mm.
side of things. And it doesn't have to be like that. Life can
Yeah.
feel better, and this medicine can help. It can help us to have a new perspective on ourselves, on others, on our
Mhm.
planet and community, and the way that we see the world and the way that we move through the world. I
Mm.
love you.
You know,
I'm super grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you. I think that there's this mindset that a lot of people, I'll just speak for myself.
Yeah.
I always would find, like, I always, would weigh the pros and cons rather than just think of the pros of a situation. It's like, of course we need to, take care of ourselves when it comes to certain things, but it's like, I would always see like things as very black and white, and not I wasn't and I didn't do this intentionally, but I just wasn't like open to other ideas. I wasn't open to learning new things because I kind of felt like I already had the answer if I had already learned the answer at one point, or and now I just feel so open and so curious, and curiosity is something that I just keep going back to these past 6 months or so. And another, I keep going back to the words, childlike wonder. Like, I want to live life with childlike wonder, and not allow the world and the noise and all whatever is around me to program me on who the world thinks I'm supposed to be. Like, who am I? I'm finding out, and I kind of freaking like her. She's kind of rad, but like, I might take up a lot of space if it's not enough, if it's too much space for some people, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
We're learning our people. If I'm also learning that, things about myself that don't super serve me well. While they're not bad things, they just don't serve me well. Like maybe all that space I'm taking up might be keeping me from being able to learn new things, or whatever. And so I consciously make a decision to kind of take a step back and just just be, and that feels really, really good too, because it allows other people to take up
Step
space
in.
yeah, when sometimes they might be the exact opposite of me, whereas they're kind of sitting back waiting. So
All the time.
yeah, all the time. Yeah, exactly. And so I've learned a lot about just a lot about humanity. I see people. The other day I was driving and I saw this homeless man, and I thought to myself, that guy has a story. And if we all knew his story, from the beginning, just like knew his story, I bet we would appreciate him. I bet we would learn to love him, and I don't know his story. I'll never know his story, but like, everyone deserves to be loved. Everyone deserves to, feel that love and to be able to give that love. And if we stop with the judgment, and I feel like we have a really, really, really long way to go, but I feel like I can make a giant impact in a little way,
Yeah.
by just being true to myself and just loving and less judgment. And yeah, and keep, I want to continue to grow. My only regret is not discovering this earlier in life. It would
Yeah,
have
but you
made my
can't have
20s and
those
30s.
regrets, 'cause
I know.
you didn't
I know. I
know.
wouldn't
I
have
didn't
known.
know, right? Divine timing.
No,
You just have to
no.
trust that everything works out the way that it needs to, and it is what it is. You can't change it anyway.
Right.
You can't have
Right.
that regret. All you can do
Yeah,
is make different choices moving forward, and lean into that, and everything will work out.
absolutely. Thank you,
Thank
Eva.
I really
I love
appreciate you. Thank you so
you.
much for being here, for sharing so openly, for being willing to go from, I can't tell anyone that I went and did this, to starting to post about it a little bit, to you just like a little bit at a time, easing in,
Mm,
to where you are today. It's miraculous. It's beautiful. It just shows that our journeys are forever, even probably beyond
yeah.
this life. It is still a journey that we are on. And it's an
Yeah.
honor to be on this journey with you, to be in your awareness. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I get to be a part of the ripple that you are now creating by just showing up as authentic you in whatever
Mm,
way that is.
thank
And
you.
so thank you for that opportunity.
And I get to be a part of your ripple.
You see, look how beautiful
Yeah.
life is. Who else
Yeah.
wants to be a part? Come to
Yeah.
the
Come on,
retreat.
join our ripples.
Okay,
Yes,
hold on
I
one
love it.
second. I'm gonna take you out and say bye to everyone. Don't leave. I'll
Okay.
come back and say hi to you in a second.
Okay.
Okay. I need to do this, and then I need to do this. Okay, look, the light's all on me now from my window. Thank you so much for being here on another episode of Ideas to Human Better. I am Eva Payne. What an honor to spend time with Lorry today. I will put I'll ask her if it's okay to stick her Instagram in the show notes. And if she says yes, then I'll share it with you all if you want to follow her and her continuous journey forward in this space and just in her life, and as a wife and a mom and a loving creative being and a business owner and all the things. So thank you all so much for being on your journey, for honoring yourself. Take care of yourself. Be well. And until next time, deep breath. Love you all. Have a great day.